Hey, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Talking Tongue, the weekly quarantine show where I get to talk to my friends near and far to talk about the things that matter. And the things that matter are mostly movies. Sometimes comics. No, we actually haven't really talked about comics. Sometimes comic book news, but never just comics. We should do that one week. But I'm not sure. Is the guest across from me a big comic fan? We'll see. We'll see. I don't know why I'm hyping up comics so much. We are not talking about comics today. My guest all the way from the other side of the world, which is what it feels like, Vinny Francois. Hello.
Hey, how's it going, Tom?
Hey, Vinny. How is the other side of the world treating you?
It's in lockdown, so it's okay.
Is it everywhere in lockdown?
Everywhere should be in lockdown. If you're not in lockdown, you should.
I only say the other side of the world because you're using a Zoom background right now.
That's right.
And is it Mars?
It is Mars.
It's supposed to be Mars?
Yeah.
How's life on Mars, Vinny?
Red. Not a lot of oxygen, so I'm a little dizzy, but other than that, it's good.
What I've heard is there's several shades of red. What color or what shade of red is Mars?
Like a rust. It's mostly iron oxide, so it's a rusty red.
A rusty red. I love it. Vinny, I'm so happy that you're here today. It's been quite a hot minute since I've gone to talk to you.
Yeah. It's I missed you. Terribly.
I missed you too. That's why you're here. I was just thinking, what guest do I want? Oh, Vinny, I missed that guy.
Yeah.
Always posted on social media, and I'm like, I need a piece of that cake. That cake's coming on the podcast.
You get the whole cake now, buddy.
Oh, yum. But Vinny, some people, which is crazy, they don't know who you are. They don't know who you are, and they should. And they should. Yeah. Do you want to tell the people what the deal with Vinny Francois is?
Yeah, I love doing that. So I'm Vinny Francois. I live in Montreal, Canada, Quebec. And I'm mostly do improv stuff. So I've been doing that for about 20 years. I was one of the co-founders of the Montreal Improv Theater. And now I run Improv College, which I started in the middle of this quarantine. And it's an online-only improv school.
Yeah, that is... let's talk about that a little bit. I mean, we kind of talked about this pre-show, but let's just unpack that a little bit. Improv online. Now, that's a thing that's not new to Talking Tongue. I've kind of talked to a bunch of people I have a lot of improv friends, and we've always talked about online improv and what's that about. But you, Vinny, you went full on in. You created a whole school, multiple classes, multiple shows. You're keeping the dream alive, which I love. Can you tell me, like, what kind of because we don't have to get too deep into it, but like what inspired you to do that? Because we talked about this pre-COVID. Actually, I remember at the Ottawa Improv Festival last year, we were. I think we had a couple drinks, or at least I did. And I was talking to you and you're like, I want to do this improv college thing. I'm like, what? That's crazy. And here you are, you're doing it. Yeah.
I had the plan even before this whole pandemic. Cause that Ottawa Improv Fest was like right before everything was being publicized and shut down. And then what's really funny about that weekend is I was like, man, I really don't want to get this thing that I'm hearing about. And so I went around the whole festival telling people I had a cold, so I wouldn't have to shake their hand. And so I did the elbow bump with everyone. I was like, I'm getting over a cold, elbow bump.
I remember that. Oh,
and that's what it was. I was totally fine. I was just like, I'm just not shaking hands with anybody anymore. And I don't think I ever will again.
Wow.
And so even back then, I had the idea for this like online improv classes, right? And I always wanted, as someone who ran an improv school, I was like, well, what do you do if you don't live in a city where there's improv classes? There should be resources for people who want to take classes online and maybe live in a smaller city, or you just can't, maybe there's accessibility issues. And so I was like, online classes, this has got to be doable. And so I had this idea for Improv College. And then when the pandemic hit, I was like, I gotta, I was actually not interested in doing any like large scale, just like, maybe I'll just give a class here and there. I was pretty skeptical about it. And then as I started doing it, I really got into it. I was like, there's a lot of fun stuff here. And this feels like new territory. And I can kind of invent whatever I want and try all sorts of stuff out. And not everything's going to work. And that's okay. And I'm someone who's like super okay with not being good at something. because
Yeah.
that's most of my life. Most people, we are good at most things. So I was like, all right, let's do this. And so I started teaching classes, and others improv theaters started inviting me to teach classes. And the more I did it, I was like, I really like this. And it kind of fits with what I want to do. So I started improv college and invited a whole bunch of improv friends that I know, because I've been doing this for a while. I've been teaching for over 20 years. I've traveled a whole bunch. I know so many incredible performers and teachers. I was like, let's do this. Let's put together an amazing group of teachers and just offer awesome classes all the time. And so
Yeah.
that's the unofficial mission statement.
I love
Awesome
it.
classes all the time.
That should be the official statement. Yeah, I think that
Right.
should be on like a banner or something. Vinny, that's so wonderful. I am so happy to hear that you're following this new passion. I mean, it's the same passion, but like transformed. I won't talk about that till later.
Nice. Well done.
But it is weird that you set up the improv college in Mars. Like, I don't really get that whole thing.
Well, I just a lack of oxygen keeps people on their toes. So
That's true.
kind of what I'm going for.
Yeah. Besides improv college, we still live in this crazy pandemic. And now that you
Mhm.
mention it, it always hits me because we are almost we're almost been a year since the Ottawa
Yeah,
Improv Festival,
that's
which
right.
just blows my mind. Because you're right, it was like 2 weeks later that we're like, oh, we're staying home, and then it ended up being staying home from then till now.
Yeah.
I I wanted to. Oh God, I can't. I'm just still. That's still in my brain. What else makes you happy, like during the pandemic?
Yeah, sure. Things that have kept me pretty sane through all of this bonanza of bananas. I mean, I'm always been a gamer. So playing video games or board games have been pretty great.
Are you able to play many board games these days, or are you doing like the simulation
Yeah,
video
like
game version?
tabletop simulator and stuff like
Yeah,
that. Well, I mean, I'm part of a family of four, so I've got a board game group kind of built in, so I'm a little bit lucky that way.
yeah.
Although my kids aren't, I mean, they're teenagers, so they're not, you know, super hardcore about the games we play. But we play regularly.
That's great.
And actually, the game we have started playing even more regularly is Euchre,
Oh
the
my
card
God.
game. Yeah.
Yeah. Have you played euchre before, or is this
Yeah.
like a new? Yeah.
Yeah. So actually, I lived in Ottawa for 2 4-month periods back in the
Mm.
day for work terms when I was in undergrad. And I worked at Nortel back when that existed.
Yep.
And when I was there, I roomed with other people who worked at Nortel, and I met some people from Ontario, and I learned the official Ontario card game, Euchre, because apparently everybody in Ontario knows this game.
I don't know how to play
You don't know how to
euchre.
play
I
it?
don't.
Okay.
I mean, I've been taught euchre, and I'm like, I don't get
Right.
it, and I just get frustrated.
So yeah, so we've been playing that here at home, and it's simple. It's engaging enough to keep your a little bit distracted and have to be paying attention,
Yeah.
but simple enough that you can have these conversations and trash talk one another as a good family does.
Of course, of course. Video games, board games,
Yeah.
improv college sounds like you keep yourself busy.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not bored. I got a lot going on.
Good, good. Well, we have. I mean, the whole world has a lot of stuff going on because we're about to talk about the news of the week, Vinny.
I'm ready. Hit
And
me.
of course, we don't talk about real news on Talking Tongue because that stuff's always depressing. So we talk
don't need
about pop culture headlines that I pull from IGN. I used to do the research in advance of like, what articles will my guests like and stuff. But I'm
Mhm.
like, you know what? Let's just make it a surprise. When
Yeah.
I read the headline, it's a surprise to me too.
Listen, I have all my hot takes ready. So
Oh, you do? Okay.
Yeah.
How do you feel about, let's see, as I
what's
scroll
new?
through
What's
here?
happening?
Doctor Who. Now, this is a
Mhm.
show I don't watch, but you
Uh-huh.
might.
I have
Uh,
watched. Yeah.
Okay, good. There is the new doctor,
Yes.
Jodie Whittaker,
Yes.
reportedly quitting as the doctor.
Wow. Really?
How do you feel about this?
Wow. What is that? 2 seasons? Maybe after a third season?
In
That's
here,
not-
it says 2017 is when they took up the mantle. So,
Okay, so that'll be 3 and a bit. That seems short, but I guess not that short. That's like kind of, I guess, the average tenure for a doctor these days.
do you feel Did you like this Doctor? Like, I don't know enough about Doctor Who to make an opinion on
Well,
this.
I'll be perfectly honest. I haven't seen it. I haven't. I've watched. I was super into Doctor Who before the relaunch. Like I watched it as a kid,
Hmm.
and then when it got rebooted, I was like, I'm super jazzed for this, and so I watched the first three Doctors after the reboot. And then once Capaldi came on, I was like, okay, I need to cut something out of my life, and it had to be Doctor Who. I guess was what fell by the wayside. So I haven't seen any Capaldi, and I haven't seen any Whittaker Doctor Who episodes. But I've heard this last season of Doctor Who has been excellent. It's been getting good
Really?
reviews,
Okay.
so I may pick up just this last season. So I'll see what that happens.
Man, like even when I was in university, they're already like a couple doctors in the revival
Yes,
because there was the revival that happened in I don't even know. I don't know. I forget. It's
I don't remember what year it was.
you know
Let's say 1840.
Sure, that's what it feels like. But
That's what it
this
felt
show's
like.
been
Yeah.
going on forever, and they're like, don't worry, because now there's the reboot revival.
Yeah,
And
you
can
only have to
start
watch
there.
20 seasons.
And yeah, that's what it is now. And I'm like, I don't want to start there either. So it just feels like a show that I'll never actually do. But I can just be like, yeah, TARDIS, sonic screwdriver, regeneration.
You know what there is out there? There are lists of like, if you don't want to watch everything, like there's like, here's the 3 episodes a season you need to watch. And you can actually just watch those and be like, I'm good.
Would I be fine though? Because I feel
Yes.
like in the completionist in me is I'm
If
actually
you're,
starting. I started Clone Wars, Star Wars Clone Wars, the animated series.
so did I.
Oh, you did? Okay, great.
Yeah.
We could have talked about this today.
Yeah, forget it. Okay, abandon everything. Clone Wars discussion.
So Ahsoka, no.
Yeah.
I just started it because Mandalorian, Star Wars,
Right.
it's right back
Same.
in the zeitgeist, and I was like, you know what? Everybody and their moms, well, maybe not their moms, but everybody kept talking about how great Clone Wars is, and I was like, you know what? I'm pulling the trigger. I'm doing it.
Hmm.
And then there's like the essentials list, and I had a couple friends who were like, you could just watch these and you'll be fine. I'm like, will I though? Because I don't feel good about
No.
doing that.
Okay.
Would
Yeah,
you feel good about that? Like,
yeah, I could do it. I don't have time to. If I don't have time, I don't have time. I mean, I used to be like that. I absolutely used to be a completionist.
yeah,
I'm a collector at heart. Like I like collecting things. It's
yeah,
just something about making a set
sure.
feels really satisfying.
It does.
Yeah, right.
I mean, I don't
Mm.
have time either, Vinny. Like, we all don't have time. I just take away some responsibilities I should be
Fair.
doing to make
Right.
the time.
That's understandable. I get that.
I was just like,
Yeah.
you know what? I don't have time to watch Cobra Kai season 3, and look at that, I just finished it like last night. So
And it's good.
it's good. It's good. Okay, so quick review.
Yeah.
You like Cobra Kai season 1. You
Yes.
felt meh on season 2.
Correct.
And you like season 3?
Yes.
Yes, we are back on.
Yeah. How do you feel? How do you feel?
I feel great.
Yeah.
I feel great. I always felt
Did
great
you like
about
season 2?
I did like season 2. I see where
Okay.
you were coming from, and we're not going to spoil it for the people.
That's fine. Yeah.
I did like season 2,
Fair.
and I did like season 3. I thought there was like a little slow burn at the beginning, but by
Yeah.
that time I was like, you know what? I'm already invested in this, so I
It's
don't
got
care.
a great end. Season 3 has a great
Oh my
finish.
God, I'm so stoked.
Yeah.
Anyways, we're not talking about that.
We will not talk about that.
What we will talk about is that they are making a Rubik's Cube movie.
I'm sorry, you're going to have to repeat that for me.
Yeah, they're going to make a Rubik's Cube movie, and
Hmm.
they plan to make a Rubik's Cube. Sounds like a competition show or something, like a game
Now
show.
that's way more interesting than the movie because I mean, they made a Battleship movie, and I'm like, sure, why not?
Yeah,
Make a
wasn't
Battleship
Rihanna
movie.
in that or something?
Is she? I know Liam Neeson is in it.
Oh God.
I'm like, I hope you got paid, buddy. I'm sure he did. But what? I mean, I can't even begin to imagine what a Rubik's like. If someone said, "Here's $20,"
Yeah.
which I imagine the budget is going to be. Here's $20. Make a Rubik's Cube, the movie. Now, is it like a magical Rubik's Cube that
I
you
don't
have to like
know.
solve, or is it a talking Rubik's Cube and it's animated for kids?
See, you know what? You would think something like an idea as stupid as Battleship, they would have done like something animated or something for kids, but they made it like
Right.
apparently super serious.
Yeah, it's an alien invasion and the naval
Right?
forces have to repel or something like that.
So the Rubik's Cube movie might be that.
I mean, I hope so. I mean, who would you cast if you had to cast someone as a Rubik's Cube? This is a real question. Who would you cast? Who the working actors today? You're like, this person is going to nail it.
Well, I mean, let's think of like the hottest actors right now. It would have to be Tom Holland as a Rubik's Cube.
Tom Holland as a Rubik's Cube is pretty good.
Yeah, he's relatable.
Yeah.
He's just a kid.
Yeah, very down to earth.
Down to earth. Timothy Chalamet as a Rubik's Cube. I don't know.
He's too like elf looking to be a Rubik's Cube.
I've never heard that, but I see where you're coming from. He's he is kind of
maybe like a fairy, like a little dweller, like it lives in a mushroom. That's what he looks like. He looks like someone who lives in a mushroom.
I hope one day that you get to meet Timothy Chalamet and he's heard this podcast episode. So. He's like, you're the guy who called me a freaking elf that lives in a mushroom.
Yeah. I think so. I think he's got little wings under his jackets. That's all.
Oh man. I love it. I mean, I'm never going to watch a Rubik's Cube movie, but
I might.
You might?
Well, I mean, I can't even imagine what it would be like.
You don't even have time for it.
I'll make time for it.
Okay.
And I'm going to give you my casting pick.
Okay, go.
And it's going to be Charlize Theron.
Okay.
She can do anything. I think she'd fucking rock it as a Rubik's Cube.
She'll just kick ass as a Rubik's Cube.
She'll be badass as a Rubik's Cube. That's what I want. I want a badass Rubik's Cube.
Like badass, pretty sexy, doesn't take shit from anybody.
That's right.
Rubik's Cube.
Yeah. I want to be slightly uncomfortably attracted to this Rubik's Cube.
Okay. That's the rated R version of the Rubik's Cube movie. Are you excited about WandaVision, which comes out next week?
So I don't know. I'm mixed on this. I do have a little Marvel fatigue. There's a lot.
Mm-hmm. It's been a year though.
It has, and I'm curious because I guess it's like a riff off of TV through history. Yeah. That part of it interests me more than the WandaVision part of it.
Yeah, I mean, I just saw. I mean, I'm a fucking Marvel geek, and I definitely see where people were coming for with the fatigue, and it was a lot. It was a lot.
Yeah,
we had like 11 years of just like bam, 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 and for me, I was just like, feed it to me. I don't. I just funnel it into my skin. I don't care.
Yeah. You're not alone. Those movies made bank.
They made bank, and they were good. They were like even the worst ones were good. So, But the shows I've been waiting for a while now because why have a Disney Plus subscription if you're not if you're only gonna have Mandalorian once a year? So the reviews for the first three episodes released, and I didn't read them, but the general feelers is that it's good. Okay. So, and it's also good but different. They say it doesn't feel like anything that's come before it. Like it doesn't feel like a Marvel thingy. It feels like its own thing, like it because it's riffing on old television and stuff. It feels very unique, and I'm like, I like that. That. Show me something new.
That part intrigues me. I love a good homage. Like if there's something that someone loves and they're passionate about it, and they show that passion through the homage, then like give it. I'm there.
Yeah. Speaking of superheroes, we have Michael Keaton taking up the mantle as DCEU's Batman.
Mm-hmm.
Thoughts? Where are they going to go?
I mean,
with this?
I feel like this is a decision that kind of comes out of all of the Spider-Man stuff, because they're bringing back all of these old Spider-Man for this next movie, and I was like, oh, did someone be like, that's a good idea? Let's get Michael Keaton, and maybe they tried to get Val Kilmer, and who knows? George Clooney available.
Have you ever seen Batman Beyond at all?
Which one's that one?
That one's where Bruce Wayne's an old guy, and we have a new Batman from the future. Well, it's it takes place in like in the future, further down where the tech is bigger. But Bruce Wayne's an old guy, and he can't be Batman anymore. So he trains a new Batman, Terry McGinnis, and it was an animated show. All this, whatever. That's where they think they're gonna bring Michael Keaton, not actually be Batman,
like old Batman,
just old Batman,
retiring Batman,
but just telling other people what to do because he can't do it anymore.
That makes sense. I can buy that.
I do it. Are you disappointed that Zack Snyder has no more plans to make DC movies?
No.
after the Justice League.
No,
Okay.
I don't. I mean, what's the best DC movie? Wonder Woman? Is that the best DC movie?
Birds of Prey was always my favorite. If
I
you've
haven't
seen that,
seen that. I
it's
actually did.
good.
I want to
It's
see that one. That
it's
one's I've heard
good.
is good.
It's so much fun.
I mean, maybe Dark Knight. Dark Knight is good because Heath
Oh,
Ledger
if we're
is
talking
good.
about those, yes.
I mean, any DC. I'll give you any DC. All of the DC. Maybe the Michael Keaton first Batman movie is passable. I know people who love that. But, like, yeah, what the first Batman movie, the Michael Keaton Batman movie, Dark Knight with Heath Ledger, good,
Oh,
and
so
Wonder
good.
Woman. Is that the full list of good DC movies?
Yeah, Birds of Prey is good.
And Birds of
though.
Prey, right?
Birds of Prey
Maybe
is
I haven't
good.
seen
Birds
it.
of Prey is
Okay.
good. But yeah, I love the Nolan trilogy. I'm just a sucker for that. I grew up with those
I only
movies.
like the second one. The first and third ones I could pass.
Or you didn't like Bane?
No,
I mean, Bane gave us memes for days. How do you not
he
like
did.
it?
I know. Well, I mean, Nolan and audio mixing. You could talk about that for a while.
Yes, you're right. Okay. So we have a few more stories before we get into the news of the
Sure.
week. Or not news of the week, into the movie of the week.
Mhm.
I'm just
What else is
scrolling through
happening?
here, and it looks like there are no plans to make a third Borat movie.
Why is that news? It's like, no, there are no plans to make a whole
It
bunch of
sounds like
movies.
he's like, I don't want to make a third Borat movie.
No,
Are you
he'll probably
disappointed?
he'll probably die. He'll probably be killed if he tried to make a third one. He
The
almost dies every time he makes one. I don't know why anybody
He
put
puts
themselves
himself
in
in real danger.
yeah, to make us laugh while our faces are full of popcorn. I mean, great,
Well,
bravo. I mean, it's incredible. I mean, his movies are great, and
yeah.
it does kind of feel like it's blurring the line between performance art and comedy, but
Yep.
it's yeah, I don't need a third Borat movie. I'm good. I've got enough Borat. Thanks.
Yeah, I like the second Borat quite a bit, and
Sure.
I really appreciate what he went through to do something like
Absolutely.
that. That is like risking your neck to do the type of comedy that really like shines a light on
Mhm.
real problems in the world.
Yeah,
And I was like,
yeah.
holy shit, that's art.
It is, and I think it's super brave. And the first one was kind of really revolutionary and groundbreaking, and then the second one is like, did I need this? No. Was it fine? Yes. Then like it didn't retroact. What you don't want to have is to have it retroactively ruin everything that came before it, right?
Yeah.
And there are movies that have done that, so
Yeah.
at least he didn't do that.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. I think I'm ready. I think we're
Yeah.
ready.
I'm ready.
We're gonna optimize.
Yeah.
We're going to
hmm
what is the Beast Wars version of what do they say?
Oh yeah.
What do they say? Do you remember?
No,
You didn't watch Beast
I
Wars?
did not. I'm sorry.
Why did you choose this movie then, Vinny? Tell us what movie it is that we're
We are
watching.
going to talk about Bumblebee, the movie.
They're calling an army.
I've seen firsthand, these things really are.
Bumblebee. There is only one way to end this war. You must protect Earth and its people.
Take it down!
My back, me!
Bumblebee the movie.
Yeah, but there's no Beast War stuff in there.
No, there's not. But it's Transformers
It
related.
is, yeah. I mean, well, look, I'm a child of the '80s. I grew up watching this stuff, the '80s cartoon GI Joe and all that stuff, and so Transformers. I freaking loved watching that stuff. Energon cubes, I ate it up. Give me cars that turn into things. Triple changers, man.
Yeah.
There's a train that turned into a robot that was also a space shuttle. Are you giving me? Are you kidding me?
So you have a pretty strong attachment to the Transformers series from like your childhood and like
Yeah, the animated
you-
series.
Yeah. Did you cry when Optimus died in that one movie?
Well, I didn't cry, but I was like, wow, they really killed him off. That was pretty cool.
In the like first 10 minutes of the movie
Yeah,
or whatever. You're
Yeah,
like,
they
holy
didn't
shit.
save it for it. He's gone. And like so many died. And they got Orson Welles to do the voice of Omnicron. I mean, I think that was his last credited role, a giant robot eating planet. That's a pretty great way to go.
That is pretty fucking cool.
Yeah.
I want to hear your thoughts of, well, let's first like back it up and say,
Yeah.
why did you choose Bumblebee? Now, Vinny, before I get into that, I want to like just set up for the people at home. Like, Vinny Francois, everyone. He is a narrative storyteller, genius. He loves to write. He likes to watch things in an analytical mind.
That's true.
So I was like, I'm going to invite Vinny. He's probably going to choose some sort of heady, kind of crazy movie that's going to really make me think about the world. And the two movies you pitched were Pacific Rim and Bumblebee.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. I love these movies.
Let's hear it.
I don't need, so like when I watch a movie, I don't need to be like, I can't eat only vegetables. Sometimes I want candy, and sometimes I want a nice, bloody steak, and sometimes I want lasagna. Like I'm not someone who only likes these ridiculously overworked movie pieces. I like a really dumb movie made, if it's done well, it's transcendent. Like that first Wonder Woman movie had so much charm, and it was so just neatly done. That's all I need. John Wick is like a classic. It's like almost a perfect action movie. I put it on the same pedestal as people put Die Hard. Like John Wick is just there's a guy, he kills people, his dog is spoiler, his dog gets killed for opening.
I know.
And now he goes on a revenge spree, and it's beautiful. It's beautiful. It's well shot. It's well made. So I don't, I'll pick a dumb movie if it's well made. Like I said, if people are passionate about something and it's well done, then I'm happy. That's that's all I need.
The movies that have a lot of fun don't take itself too seriously. They know they have plot holes, and you're like, what? That doesn't make any sense. It's like, well, they know it. And if they know it and they don't care, then I shouldn't care either.
Correct. Yeah, if we're having fun, I'll overlook anything. You tell me this, this robot talks and turns into a car. Yeah, I'm in. Great. That's the world. Then let's go. What else is true? Oh, there's a plane. Perfect.
So as someone who loved all those Transformers movies, like we had 5 before this movie, Bumblebee, 5 back to back. Michael Bay directed movies. Did you like any of those?
I only saw, I think, the first one.
Okay. You didn't even put yourself...
I watched the first one and I was like, okay, I get it. And then the rest of them just felt like photocopy. It's just like a photocopy, and then they photocopy that, and then they photocopy that. And it's like, I don't need any of this.
Okay.
So I didn't watch any of them. And also because it didn't feel like the Transformers that I watched as a kid.
Okay, that's what I wanted to get from you here is what made, as someone who only watched the first one, what made it like different in your head? Because I agree with you. Like the Transformers Michael Bay movies were like, they're the characters I remember, at least the main ones, and there's some new ones, but there's something about it that doesn't feel true to what I like about Transformers.
Yeah. The original cartoon is like super kind of almost crudely drawn. They're blocky. They're very vague outlines of cars and non-specific, airplanes. You get the gist of what they look like.
Yeah.
And then you get to this Michael Bay and these like overly articulated robot monstrosities that look like they've been put through some, art school dropouts rendering program. And they look like, I don't know, like the Transformers on acid trips. They're just like someone with a technology fetish made these characters.
Oh, they're scary.
And they're scary. They're not friendly at all. For me, when I'm watching a Transformer, and this is purely my personal experience, I just want to have a nostalgic trip, just a little bit of fan service, a little bit of just, and what made the cartoon's great is that Optimus Prime is like such a kind of noble leader. I love a noble protagonist. Like, give me Jean-Luc Picard. He's like still my favorite captain, right? Like he's capable and honorable, and diplomatic and a pacifist. I love a good, generally pacifist, people who look for diplomatic solutions. And Optimus Prime was kind of like that. So that's something that spoke to me, little me, and still speaks to me to this day. And so those are all the things that and there's no pacifism in these movies. There's just pure carnage and spectacle and gratuitousness for the sake of blockbusterness.
Yeah.
I mean that's what Michael Bay is known for. You're going to hire him. You're going to get a Michael Bay movie.
Well,
I mean, that's what you get.
I'm trying to think of other Michael Bay movies that aren't the Transformers movies. Like I can't even.
I think he did The Rock.
Did he?
I think that's a good movie. But again, it's like just a ridiculous spectacle.
Right. But he became like pretty well known during the Transformers, like the live action, the first one, 2007.
Sure.
Long ass time ago. And since they've created with including Bumblebee 6 movies. Like that is insane. Yeah. Armageddon, he was a producer on. He did The Rock as a director. He did 6 Underground. I've never seen that. Pain and Gain. He did that.
All right.
Okay.
But yeah, as a Transformers director, I'm like, this is not a movie. It's basically a ridiculous blockbuster spectacle with the Transformers characters who happen to be in it. It could have been anything. It could have been a dinosaur movie with ridiculous dinosaurs rampaging around the city.
Well, they do that. They do that in one of the movies,
right? Yeah. They bring the Dinobots. Who are my favorite? I love idiots. I also love idiots. There's some of my and Grimlock, the original Dinobot, is one of my favorite TV idiots.
But they don't do it well.
No, you got to capture the. I mean, you can do dumb idiots and then who aren't funny. And there's a good way to be an idiot, and there's a bad way to be an idiot. And the Dinobots were great idiots. One of my favorite idiots, I think maybe of all time, might be Jason from The Good Place. He's amazing. That is an incredible character, and the performance is unbelievable. Like top notch idiot.
Yes, I love that. And you made me think of like throwback to like Bulk and Skull, Power Rangers level of like just like they're stupid, but they're fun.
They're dumb. They're fun. Yeah. Those are some of my favorites.
So we like Michael Bay created this like pretty indiscernible robots and CGI Transformers. Like I would say the first 3 movies were a big complaint was like, I can't actually tell the difference between one Transformer to another. I can't actually, I don't know who the good guys are and the bad guys. Like that was like a valid argument of like,
and it's also
I don't like this.
It came right in the middle of that crazy editing phase of like, just like cut. And you just cannot visually follow what is happening.
Explosion fetishes going everywhere. And you're like, what is happening? So then they soft rebooted it, and this is kind of where I tuned in because I watched the first one, I watched the second one, I tried to watch the third one, and I don't usually give up on movies, but like I guess I didn't really give up on it. I fell asleep intentionally so and then like I was like, you know what, it's not worth it. I watched the fourth one, Age of Extinction. That's the one with Dinobots and Mark Wahlberg. That's when it's like, goodbye Shia, it's Mark Wahlberg time. And his name it's a really cool name for a protagonist. It's like Cade Yeager or something like that. I'm like, that's pretty fucking cool. That sounds like an anime.
He sounds like a Mortal Kombat character,
right? I was like, that's pretty cool. But the character himself wasn't that cool, but the name was cool. Right. Then they made another one, and I'm like, I couldn't even watch that one. It was just, again, it was just like the soft reboot wasn't with just Mark Wahlberg. It was just like they tried to make the robots a little bit more, the Transformers a little bit more to the cartoon. Like they really wanted to make it be like, oh, now you know who Starscream is or Optimus or whatever. And even then I was like, I just, something about it, it's just overly too serious. And that's my biggest problem with the Transformers movies is it's like, they should just be about robots punching each other and like campy and like cheesy. That's what I want. Not like a world ending political but like super serious 3-hour movie. Like don't give me that. Bumblebee. Now we're finally on Bumblebee.
No Michael Bay.
Well, he's producing it.
But
Travis
he's not
Knight.
Yeah, he's not writing it, he's not directing it.
This is the Transformers movie that I wanted from the beginning.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. It was great. I really thought it was a solid movie.
Yeah, let's hear more about that. There was a lot of setup to just talk
Yep.
about Bumblebee here. Like, now that we're here, like, it is a soft reboot once again,
Yep.
because they're still using a character that we've known from these other movies, but it's like prequel territory, you know? But I would say the opening sequence of the movie where you're on Cybertron and there's that war going on and you see everyone fighting, you're like, oh my God, I can actually discern the differences between Transformers.
Yeah,
Like it looks great.
And they made them look like the cartoon. They went back to the source material to do all the character design. And it's like, oh yeah, here, there's Soundwave, there's Shockwave, there's, oh, Ravage, great. Give me some Ravage being ejected. I love it.
It was good. And like that opening scene was like the best Transformers thing that I've seen, like live action ever. Like it was so
Absolutely.
good.
Yeah.
Let's hear about, so you liked Bumblebee. What about it did you like?
I mean, is it a great movie? No, but is it a solid movie? Yes. And what I liked about it is it's got two just very nice protagonists. Bumblebee, who's lost on his own on Earth, and the main character, I'm forgetting her name.
Charlie,
that's it. Thank you.
Haley Steinfeld plays it.
Yeah, and she did a great job of just being, they wrote it super simple. It's a girl whose dad has passed away and she hasn't gotten over it, and Bumblebee, who's alone on Earth and can't communicate because his vocal box has been ripped out, and they find each other and hang out and go on crazy adventures and try to stop the world from being invaded by the horrible Decepticons.
Right. And
it's simple. It's just really simple. Don't get caught with the transforming vehicle, that old trope. And she's a diver and gets scared of diving, and she has to come to grips with both losing her dad and being scared of diving, and he has to help Optimus Prime and stop the Decepticons from invading.
But he lost his memories, and
that's right.
He doesn't remember, but he learns to be a little bit human along the way.
That's right. Yeah, a little amnesia story too.
Yeah, I thought it was good. Like I would agree that it wasn't like the best movie ever, but like for Transformers movie, it was by far the best. Like
easily, it was. Here's my review. It's watchable. It's actually watchable.
It's very watchable, I would say, and it's like a turn your brain off and have fun kind of movie. Like,
absolutely.
It's full of just like random like plot hole type things. I'm like, why did they do that? Why is this character doing this? No. And like, this doesn't make sense. And then I was like, you know what? This movie is just trying to have fun. I'm going to just shut that part of my brain off.
I didn't quite, once you have transforming robots landing on Earth, I'm like, all right, I'll buy whatever else you're selling me here.
Well, I was just like, at one point in the movie, she gets shot. Well, she doesn't get shot, but like she's hiding in like a dumpster and like a missile hits the dumpster and she is completely fine.
Yeah, it just gets knocked over. That's it.
And she gets
that's
up
a hell of a dumpster.
Yeah, it's like, shit, I should get some of that for my house.
They should make the Transformers out of that dumpster.
Yeah, and like we have characters like, or actors like John Cena is in this movie.
That's right. Yep.
Thoughts on him in this movie?
You know what? At first I was like, why is he in this movie? But you know what? I'm just thinking about the target demographic for this movie. It's not me. I would not pay to go see this in the cinema. I'm waiting to watch it on Netflix like we actually did.
Yeah.
And people who love John Cena are probably the same people who will go see a movie about robots who kick each other's butts. And what I really liked about the movie, like a little note that I only noticed about halfway through, is that all of the fighting that the robots do, that's hand to hand, they're almost all wrestling moves.
Yeah, I noticed. Yeah, it is, and it looks good.
It looks good because they probably got wrestlers to do it and mocap it and then put robot stuff on it because it looked like it's like, oh yeah, these are total wrestling. And if you like John Cena, you're gonna like wrestling move fighting, and so it's matched. It fits. They kept it coherent.
Yeah, and what I liked about the John Cena character, because I already forget those other movies, but the other movies always had the military involved for whatever reason, and you had really, really super serious characters talking about like, oh, we got to broker a deal with the Decepticons because
Right.
of whatever. And there's like huge boardroom meetings and
Yeah.
sweeping shots and just boring stuff.
Everything is boring and epic.
Boring and epic. And you're like, what is happening? But with John Cena, I thought they were going to do that again, but his character is actually pretty goofy for being like a military character. He looks serious, but he's just always quipping.
Yeah, he's hamming it up and being such a goof, and they let him do it, and that's great. I mean, I don't want him to take it seriously. I want him to be and he's like a bad guy. He's trying to capture Bumblebee, and then he learns his lesson, and Bumblebee wins him over. It's like,
yeah,
go ahead. They salute each other at the end.
Oh my god, I love that.
So cheesy.
That is so cheesy. He's like, soldier, and then he salutes, and I'm like, that is hilarious. You're saluting a transformer.
Yeah.
But yeah, for him, I was just not I've grown to really like John Cena as an actor because of some random stuff he's just been on, like Blockers. I thought he was really good in, and like this movie, I was just like, oh man, if they just make him be serious the entire time, this is gonna be really boring.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, oh, you know what? He had fun with it. He's not really a bad guy, really.
No.
Even like when the humans. There's a part of the movie where the humans are giving all of the Decepticons or the two Decepticons like the satellites and all this other stuff. And there's like a quip being like how the head scientist is like super creepy and stuff. And he's acting like a cartoon almost. And I'm like, yeah, he is. This feels like an episode of a Transformers TV show.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And then he even gets this line where he says like, they're called the Decepticons. Isn't that a red flag for somebody? And I was like, that's a great line. That's a good line.
Do you think Transformers movies, live action, because all of them so far have had this, like, need humans in it? Like,
yeah. Yes.
They need it?
Yeah. I think that's what makes this one work, is that the problems of it's grounded in the problems of this young girl who just misses her dad. And it feels like she's struggling with her family, and it's just simple. It's cliche, but it's simple and it works because it's like, oh, how many blockbuster teen movies do you see about someone dealing with loss? Like that's not something you see a lot. Like you see, people having family troubles, but it's because she just hasn't been able to let go of the memory of her dad, and she's kind of hanging on to it. And part of the movie is her having to let go. Like, how many times does Bumblebee die in this movie?
Oh my god, many.
He dies like 3 or 4 times, and he's like, "Oh, I'm back. Oh, okay, great. I guess."
Yeah, they're gonna defibrillate you with an electric gun that this teenager knows how to operate.
Well, I mean, but her dad dies with a heart attack, right? And so when she has to defibrillate Bumblebee, it calls it back to they do a good job of like tying everything together so that everything echoes with itself. And so
the obvious callbacks of like she needs to dive from the top of the satellite to get to the pool.
Because there's a moment about a third of the way, halfway through, where she's like, "Oh, you got to dive off this cliff," and she's a champion diver and whatnot, and she backs away. She's like, "I'm too scared. I can't deal with this emotion. I'm not going to dive." As soon as she drives away for that, you're like, well, she obviously is going to dive at the end of this movie to overcome her to show her transformation.
Well, those are the parts of the movie that I'm like, why did you even go to that party? Or like why did you go to that cliff to hang out with those people? Like you don't like these people.
They don't need to explain things.
They don't need to explain that. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to forget that happened.
She just ended up at that cliff party.
She did. And I was
and
just
then
like,
Bumblebee makes her do it. Bumblebee, what stake does Bumblebee
that's what I mean.
have?
There's like some weird okay, I'll just accept this. Like there's a part where she's like, look what I can do. I can drive with no hands. Give me your shirt, person I just met. Yeah. I'm like, you're wearing another shirt.
Yes, correct. I mean, it's basically take off your shirt, dude. So
it didn't make any sense. She was literally wearing another shirt. She could have used that.
Hey, don't question Hollywood logic.
And then he has another shirt, like in the next.
Well, I think it's her. I think it's her second shirt.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like, give me your shirt. So if you use that one, I'll give you mine. That's the move.
But I was able to quickly forgive it because, like, whatever. Who cares?
I mean, you're gonna have teen stuff, right? Like, you gotta have hot teen bods for the hot teen demographic.
For all the hot teens, you're right. Well,
Hot teens love that.
What I like about this movie is it really is like there's a lot of teen logic going on.
Oh,
and
yeah.
it's like, even I was like, a lot of times Haley Steinfeld's character, I'm just like, oh, I just don't agree with you. I actually agree with the parents right now. Like, what's
Sure.
Yeah, it's just like, well, I mean, like, she's acting exactly how she would for that age. And there's one part where it's just like where Bumblebee has a very good scene. It's probably one of my favorite scenes in the movie, is where Haley Steinfeld's character, she goes to work and Bumblebee kind of like just stumbles through the entire house and wrecks everything.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's really fun.
That was a great scene, and that was great animation. And I think one of my favorite decisions in this movie, and I'm not sure it's in previous movies, is that they gave Bumblebee antenna.
Did they not do that before?
I don't know if they did. I never noticed it because it felt really underused. But in this one, they really used his antenna to give a lot of emotion to the character. They used it as dog or cat ears to like, they really went up and down as it indicated.
You're right.
Because his face only has so much articulation and expression, and his eyes are just he's got some eyebrows, but his antenna were super expressive. They used them as eyebrows, or I guess really as dog ears to kind of communicate expressions. And it was so great. And he is like kind of this low status character. He's very scared. And so as someone, you know, we talk about status in improv, of someone who's very confident, sure of themselves, doesn't need anything that's high status, someone who's changes themselves to suit others and is concerned with how they appear as low status. And they worry about how they're perceived, and that is absolutely Bumblebee. Is very low status,
which is funny because he wasn't before at the beginning of the movie.
No, he's super confident until he has to lose his memory and get beat up, and so he's lost. And that's the animation, the character animation. Whoever did that did a great job of communicating. And that scene that you're talking about, where he's bumbling around the house and he's in an uncomfortable, it's clearly not his space.
Yeah.
Think about when people occupy spaces that they're very comfortable, like your own home or your own office. You're super comfortable. You're like, I know where everything is. I'll mess things up. I'll leave things on my desk. No problem. But if when you're in someone else's space, you're like, I don't want to disturb everything. I don't want to touch. I'm not supposed to be here. We can get very awkward. And they show that very well. And it's almost like a silent movie performance.
You're right. And he like interacts with the smallest thing and ends up breaking it. I love those little things.
Absolutely.
And then I was just thinking, like, the mom comes home and is like, what happened in the house? And Haley Steinfeld's like, there's something wrong with my car. You wouldn't understand.
Oh, yeah,
I'm like,
it's really dumb.
I'm like, wait, I actually agree with the mom right now. You should probably explain, like, you got to handle your car is a terrible excuse.
No, yeah. When the house is destroyed and you have to deal with your car, like, that's never going to fly. But it's teen logic. It's teen logic. So.
It's teen logic. Again, I had to just be like, nope. It's a teen logic. It makes sense. Whatever.
It's the teen demographic. That's what you got to remember.
But all of these are the favorite parts of the movie is when Bumblebee, even though like we've seen it before, whatever, but not in a Transformers movie where it's fun, where Bumblebee, a character that I didn't really care about, even in the other movies, is like, yeah, okay, I guess he's the new favorite, but whatever. In this movie, he's really fun. And like when he's trying to like pull pranks and stuff, like he has like, he's trying to TP or like smear eggs on the car and ends up like smashing it. It's good. It's fun.
Yeah, and what's funny about it is that it's inadvertent, right? He's not mean-spirited. We like Bumblebee because he's not a jerk. He's like the underdog. We always root for the underdog. And as an audience, it's the easiest way to get someone to like a main character is to have them be an underdog. And so Bumblebee is a great underdog. He's super low status, and so is Charlie. She's also an underdog. She can't get around. She gets bullied. It's a great way to get you hooked on these characters.
Two things before we close things up is I'm curious what you think about like the side character of Memo, like her friend who's like, I do like the funny stuff of like, oh, we're not there yet, and they never actually do kiss in the end and stuff like that. What do you think about this character? I'll start with that. What do you think about this character?
Fine. I'm perfectly fine with like. Does every teen movie need to have a big smooch at the end? No. It feels more of that awkward teenager stuff than the unrealistic. Like, we just met today, we almost died, and now let's make out. Like, what's happening? So to have it be this kind of awkward teen stuff feels fine. It doesn't. I thought it was sweet, and I'm good.
Yeah, I'm not sure how much he added to the movie, to be honest. Like,
Sure.
it's just like he's kind of. I mean, if you really break it down, which I don't want to, but like if you really did, it's like, oh, he's kind of creepy. Like he's stalking her
Absolutely,
a bit.
yeah.
He just barges in, and that's how he finds out about Bumblebee, and doesn't really like contribute to the climax of the movie.
No.
There's a gag of he's just like, oh, he was just late.
Yeah, he's definitely, they lampshade it, they call it out and say I'm being creepy, and he is a bit creepy, but he's, they show that he doesn't. I don't know. It's tricky to handle that. I think they do okay with it, but he's the love interest, and that's part of it. You have to have that too. There's
Love interest /
the
the person that the only other person she can talk to
about it.
She needs somebody to talk to about it, which makes sense, and it is
fun.
But
he's the Wilson, right? Like Tom Hanks is on a deserted island. He has to talk to someone about this deserted island, and it's Wilson, the volleyball. And so he's the volleyball of this movie.
Yeah. Oh, that's a great analogy. And what did you think about the threat in the movie? We don't get all of the Decepticons.
No.
Yeah.
You don't even get the main one. You don't even get Megatron
Megatron doesn't show up. They don't even mention Megatron.
No, like has he been canceled? Did he have a bad tweet? Like what's going on? But yeah, they show all these great, classic Decepticons at the beginning. And like it's Bumblebee. If you're going to use a Bumblebee, who is one of the original Transformers, why not have an original villain? It would have been fine. It doesn't have to be Starscream would have been great.
I think they used Starscream already though.
Oh, maybe
in the other ones. So they're probably like, who was this? Like Shatter? I had subtitles on, so they said Shatter and something else. I
mean, these are C tier Decepticons.
Sure.
Yeah,
sure.
I don't know. I think they could have picked better. There's a bunch of really great iconic Decepticons, even beyond Starscream.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're very forgettable. There's a good joke. There's a really fun joke about when they show up on Earth, and then the guy who cares about his car is like, no, don't hit my car, and they miss the car, and then it's like, phew, and then the second one comes and blasts his car into oblivion. That's a fun joke.
That's fun. I like that. There's also like a fun little car chase scene at the very end, towards the end, where it's just like several moments of the family are all driving to help the daughter, and it's like 3 other cars almost hitting that car, and none of them actually do. No. So it's like, okay, cool. I don't know.
But then there's like a car that flips over them and that has this like ridiculous, and that's the joke. That's how it's the 1, 2, 3 punch. So it's great.
Exactly. Final thoughts about Bumblebee.
You know what? I even after watching, I was like, what do I rate this movie? Like, how do I score it? It's a solid movie. It's not terrible. It's not great. I don't need to watch it again.
No. Would you watch a sequel?
Maybe.
Because they're making a sequel.
What, really?
Oh, yeah.
Bumblebee.
Yeah, this movie did well. Surprisingly, just through the trailer, the YouTube comments I saw there, everyone's just like, yeah, this is what the Transformers movies were supposed to be.
I guess so. I mean, these are solid. They're good movies. I don't know if I had to think about what I would give it.
Yeah, rate it
like
for me.
Out of 10 Energon cubes, I'll give it a 7. I give it a solid 7.
7 Energon cubes?
7 out of 10 Energon cubes.
Wow. Those are hot commodities too.
I know.
You have 7 of them.
If I had 10, I would give 7 to Bumblebee.
Fair enough. Yeah, I guess they do set up a sequel towards the end. I guess. She what happens?
But he rides off into the sunset with what appears to be Optimus.
That's true. That does appear to be Optimus at the very end. It's just weird that she just lets
him go. It's like
she's like, drop me off at the Golden Gate Bridge or whatever. It's like, don't you want to be dropped off near home?
No. We need to do an establishing shot finish on the Golden Gate Bridge. Yeah. And it's a little bit like, go on, get get out of here. You know,
He's like, yeah,
you gotta go, you dumb dog.
yeah, that's exactly what it is. And then yes, they establish that all of the Autobots are on Earth. So
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, I guess I would watch a second Bumblebee movie, and maybe I wouldn't rush to theaters, but
No.
like me coming away positive in the least bit about a Transformers movie is already like, hey, you know what?
That's a victory.
There might be life in this franchise, and I'm here for it if that's the case, you know?
Yeah.
Whatever.
I agree with you. How many Energon cubes would you give that thing?
Energon cubes. Let's see. I'm not sure if I would rate it out of Energon cubes, you know?
Sure.
I would probably rate it out of dives,
Okay,
actually.
and?
Yeah, I would give it 8 dives out of a deep dive.
Oh, interesting. I like it. I approve.
I'll keep it vague.
Yeah.
Keep it vague. Hopefully
I like
they
it.
don't bring diving back. Or no, wait. I want them to double down on diving.
You
in the
gotta
next
double
movie.
down on diving. Yeah.
Yeah. If Bumblebee doesn't learn how to dive in the next movie, I quit.
Oh my god, a Bumblebee in a diving competition would be perfect.
I think he'd win.
I hope so.
No,
could-
there has to be
It's
a
not,
diving.
it's not super aerodynamic as a Volkswagen Beetle.
I do like when he half transforms, you know?
Yes.
When he's just like transforming a little bit of himself.
Yeah,
That's fun
yeah.
stuff. I like
Yeah.
that. Or when he gets super serious and he has like the face,
Oh yeah,
don't know.
the bee face, I guess.
the bee face. Is that what you would call it?
Yeah.
And then
Yeah,
he
it
gets the
looks like
red
a bee.
eyes. That's
Yeah.
cool. That's
That
cool.
is cool. That's fine.
Vinny, we're at the end of this. I'm
Wow.
so happy to talk about Bumblebee and deconstruct it with
Yes.
our film minds, you know?
Yeah.
How would you, or you know what? Tell me what you have to plug in the world, you know?
I mean, the only thing I really have to plug is stuff that happens at Improv College. That's pretty much what I'm doing. So we have classes that are going on all around the world. Literally, we have teachers in the Philippines and Europe and all across North America and all sorts of time zones. The goal is to be awesome classes all the time. So-
Yes, yay!
So we've got so many great teachers, and we're about to launch next week a whole bunch of new classes for February. So stay tuned for that.
Oh my
And then
God.
every other Friday night, I play in the backdrop with Katie, who's in the Chestnuts with me, as you know, and we invite awesome, fun performers to play with us in that too. And so it's every other Friday on youtube.com/Improv College, and you can check out all the classes that we offer at improvcollege.ca.
improvcollege.ca. If you have done improv before, and even if you haven't, there's probably a class for you. I bet you.
Absolutely.
There are so many different classes. It's so impressive, truly. In a world where, this is not hyperbole, I'm just saying, in a world where many improv schools, unfortunately, in theaters have shut down, and it's a sad world out there. Vinny has done almost the impossible, I would say, where he's just uniting people from literally all around the world to create classes and content and bring joy into the world. So check it out, Improv College. It's great.
Thanks.
And that's it for Vinny. Forever. No. Vinny will be
Goodbye.
back.
I'm going to Mars. I'm going to live here forever.
You have to come back. We'll have you
All
on
right.
another episode of this. Ranked.
You
We
bet.
still have to rank stuff. I mean,
I
the
love ranking
people
things.
that recognize you from fictional horses are still wondering
Yeah.
why what was it? Black
Stallion.
Black
Oh,
Stallion.
yeah.
I was gonna say Black Beauty because we never
No.
even mentioned Black
No.
Beauty.
Black Stallion.
I got a lot of shit up from that still. They're like, who is Black Stallion? I'm like, you don't know, but
Come on.
you don't know. They don't know.
If you don't know, you're missing out.
But if you want to hear Vinny rank something else, we'll keep him away from horses. Well, maybe we'll do top 5 Transformers one day or something. You can find the rest of the shows in the Pod Cavern at www.podcavern.com. There's plenty to check out there. And that's it from us this week. Join us next week on another episode of Talking Tongue. But until then, Vinny has a famous catchphrase.
Get your ass to Mars.
Get your ass to Mars. Bye, everyone.